Rolling along from SEC Media Days. Always fun to catch up with our buddy Peter Burns. Of course, you know him from the SEC Network and been doing his thing for a long time. He's a former radio guy, though. He knows all about doing radio and the radio roast stuff.
Well, don't do that, because then you're going to give me all this, like, hey, he does all this stuff, and then I'm going to be horrible on your show. Then people are like, well, Chris said that he was pretty good, and I don't think he was really that good. I'm learning. This is only my third interview ever, so I'm fingers crossed, guys. hoping it works so well.
We've got a whole new audience. It's been crazy, Peter, with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma. We do the Locked On SEC show and on my Houston radio station, and it's been crazy to see the influx of so many Texas and OU fans, and it's a whole new audience that's opening for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's two new great cities in Norman that have a whole lot of just history behind the game and programs. There's a whole, you know what I didn't understand? A whole amount of hatred.
Yeah.
Right? Like, at its core, college athletics, as much as we love the rah-rah and the pomp and the circumstance, we love to hate. We love to hate our rival teams. And, I mean, you look at, A&M and Texas and those two teams being able to get back, especially with what happened in the college baseball world, which is Schlossnagle going from A&M to Texas. That adds fuel to the fire. Oklahoma and that rivalry that they've had with Missouri ends up being a great one as well, too. So you just get this kind of angst coming up this season. And honestly, we've had, 14 teams in the SEC for a long time. It was kind of nice to just get a little pep in the step and a little something new, and Texas, Oklahoma are bringing it. You feel it this week.
Because SEC Network launched with A&M and Missouri coming in, right?
That's correct, yeah. They came in 2012. We launched the network in 2014. And you did perhaps the most sweatiest stand-up in the history of television. For those who don't know, the first day we launched the network, they knew I was a kid from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, so they said, we're going to send you down there with Ben McDonald, former #1 draft pick of the Orioles, LSU baseball legend, who was my hero growing up. So I was like, oh, my God, this is great. They send me down there to the Baton Rouge. It's 100-degree heat, and they're like, we need you there an hour before your time. There was no shade. It got so hot, okay, that the little IFB that I hear in the studio melted at some point. So they had to call in about when we were going to be on TV, and what ends up happening is there was like about a 4-second delay for when they told me I was on. Well, I had already been on air for 4 minutes or 4 seconds. So for 4 seconds, I'm just wiping my brow. I'm just sweating. I'm like, dear Lord, and I didn't know I was on camera. Luckily, they got past that. I've been the anchor for a decade now.
I was sweating just hearing you describe that. It was making me nervous.
Forgot about this Texas heat is a real deal. I haven't lived in Kingwood for a couple of years. It's a real deal, buddy.
It was cool to see you in Austin. I got to go out there and see the Welcome to the SEC thing, and there was a lot of people out there for the Pitbull concert, but it was really cool to see. I didn't know that many people were going to show up at Charge for just a welcome to the SEC party. Yeah,
it was I would say probably 40,000 people that showed up for that, and then another probably 30,000 that showed up when Pitbull was about to show up.
Did you stay for Pitbull?
I did not, believe it or not. Actually, I wanted to. The problem is so many people had come. Our security said we had a little area, and Pitbull fans had taken over our area, and we're like, we're good, y'all have it. We're gonna leave. So, Dale, Mr. Worldwide. But it adds a different element, and nobody. Listen, as much as people want to beat Georgia, as much as they want to beat Alabama, I think Texas might have the biggest, in the crosshairs for everybody, because they want to be the team that breaks in the new squad, the newbies to the SEC.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy to see, because it feels like you get in the conference and it's like there's always a transition. A&M and Missouri, they actually performed pretty well for being new members.
But remember, Missouri ended up being in Atlanta 2 of the first 3 years under Gary Pinkel, and we're like, well, you're not supposed to do this. You don't just arrive in here. And that's why it's interesting, the difference between now no East and versus West division. Right. Which, I'll be honest with you, I want to see how it plays out. I'm not a fan of it. And I think maybe it's just because inside media, I always enjoyed, give me the race in the East, give me the race in the West. And I felt like those were two things that would collide in Atlanta. Right. Now that it's just everybody, because there's 16 teams, it's going to just feel a little different.
That would have been a good question for Greg Sankey. I should have thought of that. Kind of like test the waters and see. Maybe we bring back the East and the West. Do you think we're heading to 9 games?
I don't know if we move. I don't know if we go to 9 games. Why stop at 9? Yeah. Go to 10.
10 conference games?
At some point, if you're going to expand the college football playoff, which has already expanded to 12, it might expand to 14 or 16. At that point, if I'm let's say I'm Texas A&M, would I rather go give McNeese State a $1.5 million guarantee, or would I rather say, you know what, maybe a 9-3 or an 8-4 team and a 16-team playoff can still make it? Why don't we do another conference game, and now we get a bigger television deal, and now we get more money? I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that in 15 years from now, maybe even a decade now, we may not have non-conference games.
The COVID year was kind of cool, playing conference games like right out of the gate. I mean, every week.
Yeah, sometimes you roll in the studio and you're just like, all right, we got Chattanooga. Okay, all right, and it's good game. It's a great game for Chattanooga.
Yeah.
How they build their program, but do the players want to play it? Do the fans want to see it?
Right.
Are the television ratings there? I'd rather see Tennessee play 2 other conference opponents down the road.
Real quick before we get to our game, give me your 2 teams in Atlanta.
It's tough to go against Georgia and Texas. I know that's chalk. But I think the more interesting question now is more of, hey, how many teams can the conference get in? And I think it's 4. I think there's no doubt in my mind that third best team, whether it be Alabama or Missouri or Ole Miss or LSU, I think the third best team is absolutely in. The question is will there be a 10-2 team that's the 4th best team in the conference because of the tiebreakers? Are they going to be involved in the college football playoff?
The old joke is you never ask an Ole Miss fan directions to Atlanta. They don't know. They've never been.
I tell you what, get used to it because you may not know where it is in Atlanta this year, but you'll know. I think they're a college football playoff team.
Well, yet still Lane's name will keep popping up for every open job every offseason. It's wild that happens. Let's get to our game here. We're going to put some game show music in here, post-production. It's called Where Are They Now? I'm going to name an SEC player that was at a different school last year, was at a new school this year. You tell me his new school. So here we go. We get started with tight end Amari Niblack.
Amari Niblack, I know he's over at the University of Texas.
That is correct.
Ding, ding, ding.
Very good. We'll put that.
No. I like it when I say it better.
Wide receiver Juice Wells.
Juice Wells was out South Carolina. Is he over at... He's not at Arkansas. This is going to upset me. He's over at Oklahoma.
No, he's at Ole Miss.
Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah.
We're going to send us to your bosses, by the way. Quarterback Robbie Ashford.
Oh, God. Robbie Ashford, former Auburn quarterback. He is now over at Arkansas.
No, he's at South Carolina.
I'm going to keep saying Arkansas because I Sam Pittman needs some guys to the transfer portal.
Former LSU lineman Lance Hurd.
Tennessee,
very good.
Ding, ding.
All right. Cornerback Trey Amos left Alabama.
Yes, and now he went to Auburn.
No, he's at Ole Miss.
Oh, got it. I just should go de facto on Ole Miss to come to the SIP deal.
Former wide receiver, Mississippi State wide receiver Xavier Thomas.
He's over at LSU.
Very good.
Ding,
okay,
ding.
Got that one. We got 2 more. Wide receiver London Humphreys from Vandy.
Vanderbilt. Oh, no, he went to Alabama.
No.
Kyle, I thought I nailed that one.
Georgia. He's at Georgia.
I knew he went to a contender.
And then lastly, former Texas A&M defensive tackle Isaiah Rakes.
I know Walter Nolan went to Ole Miss.
Yes.
Did he go to Ole Miss as well, too?
No.
Oh, dang it.
He went to Auburn. Man, you got like half of those wrong.
I will be honest with you.
It's the transfer portal's messed us all up.
It is difficult. It is difficult, and I hate it. Like, now I see cats that have been there for, like, all 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love you. Like, this is what college football should be about.
Well, Peter, less golf in the offseason, more studying your rosters, okay?
Yeah, my mind, I took my kids on a Disney cruise, a 6-year-old and 4-year-old, and my mind is still on vacation right now. We had such a great time.
Absolutely.
So.
He is Peter Burns from the SEC Network. Always fun, man.
See ya.
All right, we'll be back right after this.